We have an update on future plans for some WWE titles. Plus, AEW stars are challenging for some New Japan titles at Wrestle Dynasty. And we have the backstage news on the Survivor Series War Games match. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. We've talked this week about the unfortunate incident surrounding Jade Cargill. She was written off on Friday Night SmackDown, and there has been some reporting and a bit of speculation as to what's actually going on. An injury that may potentially keep her out for 3 months, according to some sources, including the Wrestling Observer. According to other sources, a potential injury that could keep her out for up to a year. And Jack, it does leave us with the question of what are we going to do with those women's tag team titles again?
Yes, and obviously, hopefully, we hope that Jade's injury, she can get back as quickly and speedily as possible.
Absolutely.
But we just don't know at the moment. She is currently one half, as Tom says, of the women's tag team champions with Bianca Belair. There's been no official announcement about the titles from WWE, but WrestleVotes reported on a Backstage Pass Q&A that there is talk that WWE could be stripping Jade and Bianca of the tag belts. But then if that were to be the case, how new champions would be crowned is unknown. So it's all up in the air at the moment, but even if it's the best case scenario and she's out for around 3 months, I think that's still a long time to carry on without stripping them of the titles.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean, I say you can't really, but we've had in the past champions in WWE who have not defended those titles on TV for months on end.
Yeah.
It's happened in the past, and I guess if you've got Bianca Belair still as one half of the tag champions, then that's fine. Whether you have like someone who steps in to an interim tag partner for Bianca Belair, it could be Naomi, it could be Bayley. You potentially have someone like that who steps in.
How could they coexist?
How could they coexist?
The way they've built this sort of ongoing storyline, as you say, does leave them with options. I just don't know if they'd rather go, no, clean break, and we'll have a new set of champions. It'll be interesting to see.
What if the story ends up unwinding that the person that ends up being the interim champion in the absence of Jade Cargill ends up being the one that actually took out Jade Cargill?
Oh, that would make a lot of sense.
Because I think a lot of optics suggest that it'd be Bianca Belair that attacked Jade Cargill. And it's going to lead to them having some magic at WrestleMania or whenever Jade Cargill can. But there is a nice story potentially that you could do with, say, a Naomi or a Bayley tagging with Bianca Belair and revealing that, I attacked Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Get her out of the picture because I want to be a champion.
They could go various ways with this, yeah.
There is plenty of ways that you could do it. One that we'll keep an eye on, cultaholic.com. We talked about Ricky Starks in our first video on this particular Wednesday, how he's been pulled from all the upcoming GCW events. A lot of this apparently stemming back to comments made by GCW's Effie regarding AEW running the Hammerstein Ballroom. Effie put a tweet out earlier today, which was a gif from The Office, where it was Steve Carell saying that he'd been scapegoated.
Okay.
So there was a nice little callback. Brett Lauderdale has spoke about this on the Game Changer Weekly podcast.
Yes, the owner, we should say, of GCW.
The owner of GCW.
He says, it's a weird situation because Ricky Starks is an independent contractor. In wrestling, these independent contractors don't seem to be very independent. They're at the whim of an employer, which makes it seem like they're an employee. It's above our pay grade. Brett goes on to say, I found out about this the same time as everybody else did for the most part about Ricky being pulled from future GCW events. I don't really have a line of communication with AEW. I've never talked to Tony Khan on the phone or via text in my entire life. They don't talk to me. I'm not trying to say that in a negative context, but I guess we've never really had to talk. Anybody from AEW who's worked with us, that's between me and the talents who arrange it. If they need to get permission or something, they handle that on their own. In terms of this with Ricky Starks or anyone else from AEW, I don't really know a lot. I'm just hearing Ricky's been pulled. I have no communication with AEW over this. I don't know where it goes beyond Ricky Starks.
He says, of course, I've heard things in many different directions. Without me hearing it directly from AEW, it's hard to tell what's real, what's not, and what people speculated or making up in many cases. If we were to go by internet reports about the AEW GCW relationship over the last few years, every report that comes out has been wrong. It seems like the rules or guidelines don't necessarily exist. It's kind of a show-by-show, person-by-person deal or arrangement. A few people online made the comparison to say with obviously Ricky Starks being pulled from these GCW plans. They made the comparison to John Moxley and Marina Shafir and MVP being a part of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, which is held under the GCW banner. We talked about this upstairs, and I think that's in its own little bubble, despite the fact that it's GCW, because Josh Barnett very much controls the narrative on that one. Pardon the pun.
Controls the narrative.
Oh, that's a thing. So there is some grey area there, and a lot of what Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW, says there is absolutely the case, in the sense that a lot of times when you have talent from AEW or TNA or WWE, you don't necessarily have that direct line with WWE. You go via the talent, and the talent goes to them.
I remember listening to a Deadlock podcast, the guys who then also run their own wrestling promotion, Deadlock Pro Wrestling, and they were talking about, they've had people on like Roderick Strong and FTR, and they say, there was a question in their mailbag, like, how did you guys get Roddy Strong? And they went, we contacted him, and he said, yeah. So it does seem like it's more, it's not the two promotions coming together to organize this. It sounds like the smaller promotions in any given case approach the wrestlers or the wrestlers' people, and that's how it's worked out. And that does lead to very muddied waters when someone like Ricky Starks is pulled. So I guess more will come out about this. It's all very strange at the moment.
It's a very, very strange one. AEW, meanwhile, gearing up for a trip to Tokyo for Wrestle Dynasty. And we're going to see the Young Bucks back in action, we've discovered.
Yes, Wrestle Dynasty is, of course, the night after Wrestle Kingdom. So it's on the 5th of January, 2025. And it's a big cross-promotional show. AEW and New Japan are the big dogs, but there's also... This is also represented. Stardom's going to be represented, CMLL and Ring of Honor as well. And the Young Bucks appeared via video in New Japan Pro Wrestling and revealed that they want to capture the IWGP Tag Team Championships at Wrestle Dynasty. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, tired of working from home, said that the IWGP Tag Team titles, currently held by the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, is an accolade they needed to reach before they retired. A bit of a curious thing to say there.
It sounds like they're wrapping up.
But it's a weird thing to say because they've already beaten IWGP.
Yes, they have, and they do say they want to hold them once again before they retire. They do mention that in the video, because they previously held the belts in 2018, and they look like they want to do it again as part of a crossover with New Japan.
When I first read these notes earlier today, I sounded like Christopher Walken. When I first read these notes, I was thinking, how did I was about to correct you and go, they've been the junior tag team champions. Then I hopped on Wikipedia and saw that actually I think you'll find myself that they've been heavyweight champions as well. So fair play to those Bucks.
Well done, those plucky young Bucks.
In my weirdest episodes, I made the Christopher Walken joke as well. He's on my brain recently for some reason.
Is that weirdest episodes ever for Survivor Series?
Yeah, it's out now. Yeah.
Oh, is that on the YouTube channel?
It wasn't a sneaky plug, I promise.
Mate, I love a sneaky plug.
It's on the channel now.
Get a sneaker call now. Get a sneaky plug in there for Jack's video.
Why Walken's on my brain? I don't know.
You got Walken on your mind, baby. Staying with AEW Wrestle Dynasty, we're going to have a very much a showcase for women's wrestling across multiple promotions at Wrestle Dynasty, and the AEW contingent is going to be decided in Tony Khan's favorite thing, a tournament.
We love tournaments.
Loves a tournament.
I believe CMLL are also doing a bit of a tournament as well. So Tony's not alone, and maybe the other two sides of the coin, which will be Stardom and Ring of Honor, I think they're doing their own as well. So all get a representative in the match, and then I believe the winner of the four-way at Wrestle Dynasty wins a title shot in their respective promotion.
That is correctical.
The AEW brackets look like this. Jamie Hayter will face Queen Aminata on Dynamite tonight, which is a tremendous shame because Queen Aminata should be winning the Ring of Honor bracket. Serena Deeb will face Willow Nightingale 1 week from Saturday on Collision. The winners of those matches will then meet on Thursday, December 12th at AEW Collision Winter is Coming, and then the winner of that match will represent AEW in the four-way match at Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th in Tokyo.
All shaping up to be a very interesting first week of 2025 with AEW heading over to New Japan to be part of Wrestle Dynasty, and of course Wrestle Kingdom that week as well. It's going to start strong in Japan.
I would guess, just from the names we've looked at there, that Jamie Hayter could be the one. She's got history in Stardom as well, of course. But then someone else who's got history in Stardom and could be very welcome in Japan is Willow Nightingale. No, she won the New Japan Women's Belt from Mercedes Moné when she got injured.
She certainly did. She also defended the TBS title in Stardom as well.
So I was about to say it's going to be Jamie Hayter all day. Now I'm not so certain.
That is one for down the line. But this weekend it is Survivor Series, and we saw this past Friday, CM Punk returned to WWE television to join the OG Bloodline for that War Games match against the New Bloodline. And Fightful Select have done a bit of digging on this, and it turns out that Punk being involved in the match was the plan all along.
Yeah, it's been suggested that Punk's inclusion is set to play into his burgeoning feud with Seth Rollins. And according to a report from Fightful, as you say, he's been the planned fifth man all along. It also states in this Fightful report that Punk has been a model citizen since his WWE return last year at Survivor Series and is believed to have been, quote, quite helpful in the company. Although what tasks Punk has been helpful with have not been disclosed this time around.
He goes and does a tea run on a Wednesday.
He seems to be, I feel like it seems to be some sort of like obligation that these reports have to go. And Punk's actually been all right. Don't panic. But he has, from all evidence, it seems like he's been really invested in helping the next generation come through in NXT and all that sort of stuff. I like this idea that CM Punk could be in this match, not just as a plug-in, but to further this feud with Seth Rollins heading into Mania season. And it's something that we sort of discussed on the pitches video, which is up on the channel later today.
9 pitches for Survivor Series 2024. Plus, tomorrow you've got predictions for Survivor Series with Adam and Andrew. Live reactions as well with those crazy cats. What happened with this crazy cat. And the WTF moments for Survivor Series at patreon.com/Cultaholic with Ross as well.
He's a crazy cat too.
He himself is also a crazy cat. And for the latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out what our crazy cats at cultaholic.com are up to. Stay safe. Love you. Bye, you crazy
cat.
Cats. Meow.